what's up guys, Benny here and welcome to the top 7 best meta loadouts for Call of Duty Warzone right now. Since my last loadout video, there has been a ton of changes that has really mixed up the meta once again, from a nerf to the Amax, the Cold War optics finally getting improved. So I've made this video so you can stay on top of it and have the best loadouts that you can possibly have and get all those wins and kills that you're after. Also, if you are new around here, please take a second to hit the subscribe button, as 70% of you watching are not subscribed to the channel. But first, before we get into all those amazing loadouts, let's check out the sponsor of today's video, Lenovo Legion. Yes, a big thank you to Lenovo Legion for sponsoring the video. Honestly, it's an incredible laptop. I personally love mine. There is a link down in the description if you want to go ahead and check it out. But let's get into the top 7 meta loadouts for Call of Duty Warzone right now. I'm going to start off with my Amax Cold War MP5. Now, the Amax, even though it received that nerf to its headshot damage modifier down to a 1.5, it's still the king of assault rifles. Yes, that nerf and the buff to the optics for the Cold War assault rifles has kind of brought the other weapons up, but the Amax is still sitting on top, and it's why you'll see all the pro players still running it. There's just something about it where it's just got raw stopping power. It's fairly easy to use once you master the recoil pattern, and it's still got one of the fastest time to kills in the entire game when you take into account headshot and chest shot damage modifiers. So on the Amax itself, you go for the monolithic suppressor, the XRK Zodiac barrel. Really, you've only got 3 choices out of a barrel, so these 2 attachments are no-brainers. You have the Commando foregrip, 45 round mag, and the VLK 3x optic. And with your reticle, go for the T-pose, easily the best one. I think it's one of the reasons the actual arms 3x for Cold War weapons is actually a T-pose, because it makes it really easy to line your shots up. Now, if you really struggle with the recoil of the Amax, which is one of the hardest things to manage with it, you got 2 options. If you're a console player, you can go ahead and use the Ranger foregrip. If you're on PC, there's a little trick that I've only just started doing recently, and it makes it so much easier to control. It's kind of sickening, but if you go to your options and go to your field of view, make sure that's up to like around 110, 120, and then make sure you're playing on affected. What this does is it gives you a lot less visual recoil, and means that when you're using the aim assist that you have with a controller, it's kind of going to lock onto the chest a little bit, and it becomes really easy to manage your shots and keep it on target. Something I only just recently started doing in the past season and become a way better player for it. So that's the Amax that you want to be using with the first loadout. Still the #1 long-range weapon in the game. Now, this is a gun I think we're going to start seeing a lot more often. And the first thing you're going to notice with this is that the muzzle I run is actually the agency suppressor with the Cold War MP5. I don't use the sound suppressor, because the aim down sight speed with this build is still very, very quick. I need that effective damage range and bullet velocity and recoil control so that I get the faster time to kills at those distances that are a little further away, because SMG damage drop-offs are kind of very quick. So you'll go up to like 9 meters and it'll drop down to its second damage profile. You want to maintain that first and second damage profile for as long as possible, and running the agency suppressor allows you to do that, and there's not really any major penalty to your sprint to fire and your aim down sight speed. Some SMGs do need the sound suppressor, some don't. I think it benefits a lot of assault rifles and other weapons later on in the video, but we'll have the agency suppressor. Now, I don't run a barrel because the weapon blueprint that I'm running for this Cold War MP5, and there's a whole bunch that have different ones, has a cleaner iron sight, which makes it a lot easier to hit your targets with. It's one of the problems that a lot of people had with the MP5 is the iron sight was awful, and instead you don't really need that effective damage range, bullet velocity, and strafe speed, because we've gained that from putting the agency suppressor on. Then I go for the Tiger Team Spotlight. That's going to give me faster movement speed, so I can pull off flanks quicker, and also aim walking movement speed, so that when I go into a fight, can aim down sight, go into the engagement, or jump shot into it, and just be a little bit more mobile, which is a huge advantage in Warzone. Then got the Raider stock to bring that ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire time up at only the punishment to hip fire accuracy. Personally, when I'm using the Cold War MP5, I always try to ADS. It's not got the best hip fire, so keep that in mind when you're using it. We've then got the Serpent Grip to just kind of bring that aim down sight speed up. You don't want to use an airborne elastic wrap with SMGs. That Serpent Grip is going to give you the best ADS, and I use the 50 round mag, so for trios and quads, I think it's pretty much a must. Yes, it slows down your aim down sight speed, but that is countered by that Serpent Grip. And honestly, this combination is insane. It kind of reminds me of the old Kilo MP5 meta loadout, and the Cold War MP5 actually has one of the fastest time to kills at close range when you take into account headshots and body shots. So don't sleep on this. Give it a go. Let me know what you think in the comments. And then perks and tacticals are pretty much the same. If I'm running with a squad, I've got EOD, Overkill, Amped, C4, and a stun grenade. If I'm playing solos, I'll change that stun grenade out for a heartbeat sensor. Now, let's move on to our second loadout, second meta loadout in Warzone right now. We have the Ram 7 with the Kar 98K. The Ram 7 is really sat in second place for me for mid to long range. Takes a while to get used to. If you're going to start using this Ram 7, don't just use it for 1 or 2 games and be like, no, it's not for me. Because the recoil pattern is a little bit weird because it goes up and to the left rather than up and to the right like every other assault rifle in the game. So you kind of have to reverse your muscle memory to kind of get used to it, but it is worth it. You have the monolithic suppressor on there, then the FSS Ranger barrel, the Commando foregrip, 50 round mag, and the VLK 3x optic. Now, there is an option for you if you want to because the Ram 7 is actually really good at close range as well, because it's got like an 860 round per minute fire rate, which is very high for an assault rifle, and it's got that 556 damage profile as well, so 42 damage for a headshot, 28 to the body. So it's a bit of an all-rounder, but very good at long range, especially if you've got mouse and keyboard. I find that mouse and keyboard players can use the Ram 7 a bit more effectively than controller, but you can go for the Corp Combat Holo, put a blue dot on there, and then it's really short to mid-range, perfect for pairing with a sniper. And yes, even though the Cold War snipers have been buffed, the Kar 98K is still the best sniper in Warzone, in my opinion, for an aggressive playstyle. Monolithic suppressor, Singard custom 27.6 barrel, the tac laser for that faster ADS. Nice to see that they brought out an equivalent for Cold War snipers, the sniper scope, and then the precision comb. I personally use the precision comb for the aiming stability over the sport comb because the Kar 98 has a fast ADS, a fast enough aim down sight speed that it doesn't really need any more. Now from a reticle, I use the pinpoint, but the best one is definitely cover shot. If you've got it unlocked, I actually need to spend some time unlocking it because it's clean. Sprat uses it and it's just disgusting seeing him use it. But best sniper in the game right now. There are some alternatives. There is an alternative that I'll speak about later in the video. Now the third loadout what we have is the Krig Mac 10. Do not sleep on these guns. The Krig is now really, really good. Now, you've got that agency suppressor on there because it's a mid to long range weapon. Close range assault rifles go for the regular suppressor, but as we're using this for mid range, we've got that agency. Now, the barrel is a weird one because the Krig is one of the few assault rifles in the game that doesn't have a bullet velocity and effective damage range barrel. So you've kind of got to choose. Do you want the effective damage range or the Ranger, which is a bullet velocity? Personally, for me, I go for the Ranger because I want to be able to track my shots properly and make sure that I'm landing them at that mid to long range. And I kind of accept the damage profile drop off, but the second damage profile on the Krig is still pretty good, but you need that increased bullet velocity. And also, all right, with this blueprint, you get the Dragon's Head as well, which is pretty sick. Then the Field Agent Grip to help control the recoil, 45 round mag, and then the Axial Arms 3 times. You can change that 45 to the 60 if you want to, but personally, I don't like punishing my aim down sight speed. But the Krig, definitely viable now in the meta. And a gun that is being slept on is the Mac 10. Now, I think the Mac 10 went through a phase where it was top dog out of all the SMGs in Warzone. It was better than the Modern Warfare MP5. It was better than everything. Everything else has kind of come up once again, and the Mac 10's received a few nerfs. However, very, very good still, especially with this build that not many people have been using. The muzzle's the agency suppressor. The Mac 10 actually has one of the fastest ADS speeds out of all the SMGs in the game, so you don't need that sound suppressor. This is going to increase your effective damage range and allow you to beam targets and get that fastest time to kill possible on opponents that are a little further away, which could edge you out a victory in a one-on-one gunfight. Then I go for the 5.9 Task Force barrel, which is effective damage range, bullet velocity, and strafe speed. Pretty no-brainer, to be honest. I don't run an underbarrel. I've started learning ever since I changed my field of view to affected that I don't need the underbarrel to kind of keep my guns locked in, especially right, when you're using an SMG at close range. It's easy enough to control. You don't need to worry about those really minuscule differences to land those headshots. It's still going to work. But what I do use now on the Mac 10 is the SOF target designator. This increases that effective damage range, so you're going to get the faster time to kills on opponents that are a little further away, and also increase the hip fire accuracy. And the only penalty is your flashlight is visible to enemies, which isn't really a big issue, to be honest, when you're kind of rushing people with this. And it's just otherwise all pros. So really, really nice attachment. And we got the Raider stock on there, ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire time. And then the 53 round drum, because trios and quads, you need all the bullets. And this thing's got like a 1,100 round per minute fire rate. You get through the clip pretty quick if you don't have a big mag. So make sure you've got this build. But an incredible loadout. And of course, remember, you can swap out the assault rifle to the RAM or the Amax, depending on what you prefer. And then I've got that C4 so I can take out vehicles as well. But great loadout. Now, if we move on to the fourth meta loadout for me in the current season, we got that Amax once again, because I just want to kind of state that this is still the best mid to long range weapon in the game, even after the nerf. Won't surprise me if it gets another one, because Raven seemed determined to kill the Amax meta, but until it goes, I'm staying with it. It's still going to be my competitive weapon to use. But we now have the close range AK-47. And as I mentioned, right, we used the suppressor on this to make it more mobile, to have a faster ADS and sprint to fire speed, which helps make it incredibly viable up close, because you don't need that effective damage range increase as much as an SMG because it's an assault rifle. It's naturally got a further first kind of like damage band. So don't worry about that. So you got the suppressor on there to make it more mobile. We then go for the 20-inch Spetsnaz RPK barrel, effective damage range, bullet velocity, and importantly, strafe speed. Mobility for your close range AR is very important. We then have the Tiger Team Spotlight on there, once again doing the same thing. Movement speed and aim walking movement speed. We then got the KGB skeletal stock on there for ADS firing move speed, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire time, and then the 45 round mag. Unbelievable weapon. I personally think this is the best close range weapon in the game right now. Give it a go. You do have an option as well if you really want to and you're not worried about staying off radar. You can get rid of the muzzle and you can go for the GRU elastic wrap if you want to. So that's another option. Personally, I like staying off radar, so I'll go for the base suppressor. So that is the next loadout that you want to be trying in the current Warzone season. Let's move on to number 5, which I think is a great option. The Kilo, with the time to kills for a load of assault rifles kind of being brought down, the Kilo's coming back into play. And you've got to remember, with this build, up to 86 meters, it's still as good as it ever was. It's just no longer as good at like those 90 to 110 meters, because it's got a third damage profile, which makes it feel like a pea shooter, but up to 90 meters, unbelievable assault rifle and so easy to use. Like, if you struggle with aim in Warzone and you struggle landing your shots, use the Kilo. It's so easy. It's so friendly. It's so user-friendly. So give it a go. Monolithic suppressor, 19.8 Prowler barrel, VOK 3x optic, Commando foregrip, and a 60-round mag. I'm going to be honest. I love the Kilo. It's so much fun to use. And then we pair it with our next close range assault rifle, which is very close and a bit easier compared to the AK, because the AK has a slower rate of fire. If you miss a shot, it's a lot more detrimental to your time to kill. However, this is the XM4's got a way higher fire rate, around 800 rounds per minute. It's almost 25% faster, so every bullet isn't as important, doesn't deal as much damage per bullet, but means that you can afford to miss a couple rounds. So if you're pre-firing or kind of like your aim's a bit off, this could potentially save you. Regular suppressor, once again, because it's a close range AR, 13.5 Task Force barrel, so we get the strafe speed, Tiger Team Spotlight for faster movement speed, and the Raider pad, so we got that faster ADS and firing move speed. Once again, keeping the close range assault rifle very mobile, very important. I actually dropped a 35 kill gameplay with this the other day. It's unbelievably good. And then the 45 round mag, because I don't want to penalize that aim down sight speed. And then that is my 5th best loadout, meta loadout for this season. And then the 6th one, we've got the Pharah. The Pharah received a buff alongside that nerf for the Amax, and it's kind of made it very, very viable because they've changed the recoil pattern. Once again, a bit like the Ram, takes a while to get used to, but for the mid to long range version of this, you've got the Gru suppressor. We then run that Liberator barrel for that bullet velocity, very much like the Krig. Spetnaz grip to control the recoil, 60 round mag, and then actual arms 3 times. Has one of the fastest time to kills available out of all the assault rifles. Can be a little bit difficult at far distance because of how the recoil works, but if you learn to control it, I think with a mouse and keyboard especially, the Pharah is a great, great choice. And pairing with it is potentially the most broken gun in the game right now, because the time to kill average has been brought up in Warzone. So they've been going like, oh, we're trying to bring up the time to kill average. That doesn't happen with the Street Sweeper. The Street Sweeper has been balanced with a slow reload. That is how they balance it. You've got an 18 round mag. It takes about half an hour to reload it. But before then, you can just kind of wipe entire teams, just start jumping into them, hide in a corner whilst you reload, because you're not going to have time to reload this in a fight, if I'm being honest. But the sound suppressor, faster mobility with this, faster sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed, perfect with a shotgun. The 13.3 reinforced heavy is going to give you a higher effective damage range, so you can take out people a little further away a lot faster, because on top of that, you also get an increased fire rate, so you can get more rounds off. Then you have the Ember sighting point, so effective damage range once again, and hip fire accuracy. More importantly for me is the effective damage range here. I try not to hip fire as much, and when I am using this shotgun, I will make sure that I'm not playing its auto tac sprint. If you've got auto tac sprint, if we actually quickly go to the options here, and then if we go to controller, if you got auto tac sprint on, if you're using a shotgun, turn it off, because it can sometimes kind of throw you off and not get your shots off quick enough. Something I personally do, and it's worth it when you're using the Street Sweeper. But yeah, Ember sighting point, and I use the wire stock so I don't penalize my hip fire accuracy, but get the fastest sprint to fire speed possible. And then that 18 round mag. Honestly, best gun in the game right now. I'm kind of regretting this because more people are going to start using the Street Sweeper, and I'm going to scream as I die to a Street Sweeper in every building. But honestly, if you want a weapon that's easy to use and is the best close range weapon in the game now, I'd say better than the R9 shotgun, the Street Sweeper is the one that you want. I like this. I think it's a reason like Symphony and Tfue and stuff have been using it. Unbelievably broken. Then 7th, we got another sniper class, which is the AK-74U. Great weapon. It received a buff and became more of an SMG. They dropped its bullet velocity, but upped everything else, including like neck damage modifiers. The sound suppressor also gives you a really clean iron sight. Now, one of the things I hated about the AK-74U beforehand is the iron sight is garbage. Like, it is horrible. This, with the sound suppressor, really clean, really easy to use, and you're going to be able to land your shots properly. 10.3 Task Force barrel on there. You've then got the Spetnaz grip, the 40 round drum, and then the KGB skeletal stock. Great all-round weapon. Then we have the Swiss. Now, the Swiss, you've got a couple choices, okay? So the sound moderator or the Gru suppressor. You go for the sound moderator if you want to use it as more of a close range AR. The Gru for if you're using it at a further distance, similar to the Kar 98K. That's just like if you're kind of using it as short range aggression. I personally go for the Gru. Then we go for the 24.9 combat recon barrel. The under barrel, I go for the bruiser grip. Now, the reason I do that is the aiming stability, right? Do not underestimate aiming stability. It means that you're just going to be able to snap onto your targets a little bit easier. We then go for the laser, where I go for the SWAT 5MW laser. Aiming stability once again, and aim down sight speed. Great. And then I go for the rear grip, where I go for the serpent grip for a faster ADS. And honestly, this Swiss rivals the Kar 98K, and you can't change the reticles, but they did buff it, so it's got a much better reticle now. But give this a go. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But those are my top 7 meta loadouts in Warzone right now. I'm having a great blast using this right now. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I hope this helped you out. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you next time for more Call of Duty Warzone. Go check out Lenovo Legion. Thanks once again for them for sponsoring the video. See you next time.